Mayo Clinic registered nurse Kellee Dixon is here today from the Infectious Disease Department to talk to us specifically about vaccinations for students as they head back to school. Very important because it really keeps all of us safe when people are vaccinated. So one of the things that was brought up is the fact that a lot of people may not realize when it comes to the HPV vaccine that some people know as Gardasil, that they may not know it's for boys too now.
It is. It's recommended for boys and girls, and most recent studies show that it's more effective if they get it at a younger age. So we used to recommend starting that about like 12 or 13, but now you can start that series as young as 10, which is great because while the HPV vaccine is really great, the only bummer is that it is a series of 3. So, would really encourage you to starting it earlier, and once they have that series of 3, they're covered for life.
Okay, that's good to know. And then also, a lot of people may not realize this, but when it comes to the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, really important this year, and there's a recent story that happened as well that you can kind of relate to why that's such an important vaccination.
That's true. There was a measles outbreak in the Philippines, and in terms of disease, we've talked about before, the world is really kind of a small place. So even if you've never been to the Philippines, the disease travels here quite easily. And so there's a high likelihood that your kids are going to come into contact with those kind of germs, and so of course you'd want them to be protected.
Okay, and I know a lot of parents like myself, you hear MMR and you hear Tdap, and you kind of get confused sometimes when they need what and when. So it's one of those things that usually your provider, though, will kind of help you, remind you when your child goes in for their physical, what they're kind of due for. Absolutely.
Anytime you're in front of your provider or a registered nurse, you can ask them, what has my child had? What are they due for next? Exactly what do those initials mean? If you felt more comfortable, you could do research on your own at cdc.gov, and it spells it all out. We have the recommended timetables, or you could talk to your provider if you felt like a different timetable would be more appropriate for you and your family.
And that, since you mentioned that, because some people might worry a little bit about getting all of those inoculations or vaccinations all at the same time. But you're saying research doesn't really show that that's an issue.
That's correct. There's no evidence that says that they work any less effective or that they're any less safe because we give them to you at the time we do in the multiples that we do. But if for whatever reason you felt more comfortable getting them on a different timetable, that's something that your provider would be happy to work with you with to something that you and your family are comfortable with. But what's most important is that you do get the vaccines.
Okay, very good. And thanks so much for joining us today too, Kellee.
Happy to be here.